Pakistan faces daily cross-border terror attacks from Afghanistan and recently signed key defense agreements with Turkey to address its security concerns. I sat down with Mohammad Ishaq Dar, Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, to talk about his country's agenda on the world stage. I'm Frank Uciardo, and you're watching TRT World's One-on-One. Mohammad Ishaq Dar, the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Pakistan, thank you for joining us here on TRT World.
It's a great pleasure joining you.
You've had a busy trip here to the United States and the United Nations, and we'd like to also talk to you about the recent visit to your country by President Erdogan, who during his visit to your country signed almost 24 agreements addressing economic and defense issues. Tell us more about that.
Well, you know that Pakistan and Turkey have very close brotherly relations for decades. And, both leaderships, they always try to meet up. This was the 7th high-level Strategic Cooperation Council meeting, for which the preparations were underway for quite a few months. And, the high-level Strategic Council is manned or is co-chaired by His Excellency the President of Turkey, Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif. So this is a very strategic high-level engagement in which, all subjects under the sun, including the security, the global issues, the current global challenges are discussed threadbare. We had a long session between Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and His Excellency President Tayyip Erdogan, Foreign Minister His Excellency Mr. Haqqan, myself, and then also delegation level talks. So we had two, a portion of the detailed discussion. So it was a couple of dozen MOUs were signed, and it has been decided that this high-level strategic council should be also giving tasks to the two foreign ministers, which is Excellency Foreign Minister of Turkey, Brother Haqqan, and myself. So we would have make sure that these 11 groups, which used to be 9, regularly meet and in the areas they are assigned, and we both monitor, and then we report to the leadership, and the strategic council meetings, whenever they take place, they consider everything. So this is the mechanism.
Can you talk more about the economic significance and the strategic significance of some of the things, the memorandums of understanding that were signed?
Well, you see, we have very close cooperation in the trade, investment, regional issues, then the defense and security, terrorism. So we have very close cooperation between the two sides. We have jointly been manufacturing the ships, naval ships. We have been engaged in the other areas of defense cooperation. The trade, which is around $1 billion plus US dollars two-way, the leadership decided that in next 5 years we have to take it to $5 billion. It'll multiply by 5 the present volume. So you see this visit of His Excellency President of Turkey was very, very positive. People, love him. There was a lot of activity, although his trip was a virtually 2 days visit. But people of Pakistan were very happy, and they had expressed their love, their affection for President Tayyip Erdogan. Previously, our political party had last year also 16 months, and President Tayyip Erdogan was very kind to host certain meetings in Turkey at that time. But this time, it is a full tenure. But in 2013-18, again, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif had a lot of interaction, regular, frequent discussions and consultation with His Excellency President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan.
Now, you gave a recent speech before the UN Security Council, in which basically you talked about the charter and who doesn't pay attention to it, but you also talked about the failure of the Security Council to kind of act when it came to Israel's brutal war in Gaza and the aggression in Gaza and the attacks on the Palestinian people. Tell us more about that.
Well, there is two parts of your question. They had a very important, subject for the dialogue and debate, and that was, the multilateralism and, its reforms and improvement, because we have all seen that there are resolutions of the UN Security Council and the multilateral forums, UN General Assembly, which have not been implemented for decades now. Gaza, Palestine, and Jammu and Kashmir are two very important matters in which, the world and the people of those areas have been waiting for few decades. So this debate was very, very timely. We believe that the world order has been weakening. The rate of the multilateral institutions have been weakening. So it's not only the United Nations, but also the financial multilateral institution need also reforms. I gave a very, made proper intervention, which not only covered, the current situation of Gaza, but also the issue of Kashmir, the other global issues, the weakening of the multilateralism, and Pakistan stands ready to support, the reforms agenda to make these institutions more strong, effective, and forceful, so that the world peace, security, and development can be pursued. So on Gaza, we have been watching very carefully in the last 18 months. We have been doing our best, and we have been very closely coordinating with His Excellency the Foreign Minister of Turkey, Brother Hakan Fidan. And even now, you saw that there were certain statements from global leaders that number one, the Gazans can go to stay in and live in Egypt and Jordan. So we opposed it.
This is basically the U.S. notion that they moved the Palestinians to other countries.
And during my visit, there was another, statement by the Israeli Prime Minister that a Palestine state should be set up in the boundaries of Kingdom Saudi Arabia. So Pakistan gave a very strong reaction. I talked to my brother, Foreign Minister Hakan. I spoke to Egyptian Foreign Minister, I spoke to Irani Foreign Minister, I spoke to Malaysian Foreign Minister, I spoke to UAE Foreign Minister, I spoke to Saudi Foreign Minister. We all agreed that there should be an extraordinary Council of Foreign Ministers meeting on this particular issue, which we just spoke. So 7th of March has been fixed for the OIC Extraordinary Council of Foreign Ministers meeting in Jeddah.
So what can be done about the aggression against the Palestinian people? First of all, do you believe that Prime Minister Netanyahu should be prosecuted as a war criminal?
Pakistan's stand has been very, very, very clear that this ceasefire should be perpetual and permanent. And the humanitarian aid should be allowed to be, moving in Gaza unimpeded by the Israeli forces. I think those who have damaged and destructed the infrastructure should actually reconstruct it, and the Palestinians have their right to live and stay there perpetually. It is their homeland, and we have been always supporting that there should be full membership of Palestine in the United Nations General Assembly, as well as there should be a two-state solution, and Palestine should be an independent state, a sovereign state with pre-1967 borders, and Al-Quds al-Sharif its capital.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you directly, do you believe that Netanyahu is a war criminal?
Yeah, that's...
is he?
Yeah, of course. The destruction and the unilateral damage and, the 50,000 martyrs and 100,000 injured. I mean, it's not a small amount, and the world community. That's why the multilateralism has failed to maintain world order, international order, and that's why I said the Security Council meeting was very important, and the thematic subject chose by China was very timely and appropriate. We gave our view on behalf of Pakistan. We were very frank, and you have an access to my speech in the UN Security Council yesterday.
You also condemned Israel for threatening Iran, didn't you?
Every sovereign country, its sovereignty must be respected by all others. And number two, we believe, and we have been campaigning, no soil should be allowed for terrorist activities against any other country. So our Pakistan stance has been very candid and clear. We are on record. We have been giving statements. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif has given a number of statements. He has spoken in the UN General Assembly last year and gave a very categoric statement about all these matters. And I also, in different forums, been speaking on behalf of Pakistan.
I want to ask you about the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal. Now, during President Trump's first term, he pulled out of it. Now he's signaling he wants to strike a deal with Iran. Do you think this can be revived?
I'm not sure. You see, we haven't got full access and visibility of the facts of the latest situation. Once we get it, obviously, we always stand with principles, and we believe that the sovereign states must be respected, and regardless of the size of the states and the countries, mutual mutual respect for the sovereignty, for the independence, and their integrity must be respected by all nations.
You live in a very dangerous region of the world. Do you worry that Iran might use the nuclear bomb if they get it? Are you worried about that?
No, I think it's not for me to guess or to enter into speculation. I'm sure Iran is a responsible country, Muslim country, and it is premature and presumptive to say that if there's a big if they have, and then next if they will use. So I think we should refrain from speculations against any country's capabilities and its usage.
Now, the UN Charter has basically been ignored by India when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir. What can be done about this now that you're on the Security Council and have a seat there?
You see, we have been voicing it. There have been resolutions for the decades. We made a very categorical speech in the UN Security Council on behalf of Pakistan. Our stance is absolutely clear that all actions India took in 2019 are unilateral, they are illegal, and they are against the UN Charter, UN resolutions, because the right of self-determination is as respectable for the Kashmiri people in Jammu and Kashmir as for the Palestinians. So we have no ambiguity in these things.
Well, do you think now that you're sitting in the council that you may be able to get something done?
We use every fora. We speak up. You see, but the global community. That's why it is absolutely essential that if you have passed certain resolutions, then you make sure that those resolutions are implementable and are implemented in letter and spirit. These resolutions about Palestine and Jammu and Kashmir have been for more than 7 decades. They are in the cold storage, and now they have gone a step further and they revoked its independence. They're trying to change the demographic. You can't change the demographic. They're sending the settlers and all this business. So we will keep raise voice on principles and on all international forums, and our stance is very clear that those people should be given the right of self-determination as per the resolutions of the United Nations.
Well, based on what you just mentioned between Pakistan and the issue in Kashmir, do you think the UN has become ineffective and failed?
Surely it has weakened. It has been unable to implement its own resolutions. And the global community should reflect. And that's why I earlier said in your interview that the topic Chinese in their presidency chose for debate yesterday in the UN Security Council was very timely and effective, and very relevant.
Now, your country has dealt nearly every week with cross-border attacks, terrorist attacks from Afghanistan. Do you think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the U.S. had pulled out prematurely its forces in Afghanistan?
Well, there's a number of factors. First of all, Pakistan would retaliate to any attack, no matter which country. And you have seen that we have, reacted twice in the neighboring countries. We were forced to. And you see, no country should allow its soil to be used for terrorism activities against any other country. We believe in this as a policy. And we are committed that our country should not be allowed for any terrorist activities against any other country. Now, Afghanistan, the issue is that, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is a large contingent of this, Fitna al-Khawarij, is based in the border areas of Afghanistan and Pakistan. So we have been advising, you see, we are well-wishers of Afghanistan. We want them to prosper. We want to help the destitute people in interim Afghanistan government. But surely, we need one assurance that the soil should not be allowed to take or to make any terrorist activities in our soil from there. So yes, issues have been there. We have been complaining and we have been engaging the Afghan authorities from time to time. But at the same time, as I said, Pakistan is well-wisher of Afghanistan. We are neighbors. We have, common culture. We have common religion. We have common history. So we want Afghanistan to prosper, to develop. It's a landlocked country. We have been giving all the assistance and we will continue to give all the assistance to Afghanistan. But surely we will continue to pursue and make sure that no terrorist activities are sponsored, planned, or acted upon from the soil of Afghanistan against Pakistan.
Now, President Trump recently suspended the refugee admissions program in the United States. How is that impacting the Afghan refugees that are in your country?
Well, they had undertaken a certain number to be taken in the United States, like many other countries have committed to Pakistan. So obviously, there was a timeline which was tentatively around September this year. So we are examining the issue and we will obviously negotiate. Obviously, if any refugee, now I'm talking a principle, if any refugee who was undertaken to be taken by another country after the due process, no matter what timeline, if it doesn't happen and the country refuses, that for us, that will be illegal immigrant in Pakistan. And we might be forced to send such refugee back to the original country, which is Afghanistan.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I mean, your country had talked about deporting people if the process isn't done quickly, right?
My point?
I said your country has basically also talked about if the process of getting
the
these
slow
people,
process, yes,
right.
That's true. Yes. But you see, the number of refugees, the world must recognize, the economic pain and the cost Pakistan has suffered because of the Cold War. It's about $150 billion estimate of the economic cost of the Pakistan, carrying the war on terror against, certain elements. And this refugees, maintaining and, sponsoring these refugees, which run in about 3 million plus number, in Pakistan, is a huge burden on a country like Pakistan. So, you earlier asked a question, I think, about where the U.S. left in rush when it was their sovereign decision, but one wishes that they should not have left the weapons and the ammunition back in Afghanistan, which these TTP people and the other terrorist outfits have an access to.
You're basically saying that the U.S. did prematurely pull out and left weapons behind. That's an issue.
I can't say premature, it is their sovereign decision, but the weapons should not have been left behind.
Well, was your region a more stable place with a U.S. presence in Afghanistan?
Well, perhaps they can answer better, but it is obviously the country's responsibility and not a third country's responsibility. It is the Afghan government responsibility to make sure that its soil is free from any terrorist activities and terrorist existence.
Well, UN diplomatic efforts have basically failed to stop the invasion of Russia. They've failed to stop what's going on in Gaza. Is the UN still relevant?
We have discussed UN earlier. I think UN weakening position is known to everybody, and that's why discussions and debates are on to improve its effectiveness and its governance, to put the world order back in good shape.
Is the Security Council basically impotent to do anything at this point?
We all know the structure of Security Council. How does it work? There are P5s. Any country vetoing, my friend, any idea or any proposed action, it just goes out of the window.
Would expansion solve that?
Surely, not only expansion would solve that, but obviously some sort of reform in the Security Council itself is required.
Pakistan is basically one of the countries that make up the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. That's 57 countries. And sadly, since the October 7th attack by Hamas on Israel, there's been a spike in Islamophobia. What can be done?
Well, we are raising our voice as a country. Pakistan has been raising its voice everywhere in every forum. Last year in the summit, OIC summit in Banjul, Gambia, we voiced and we campaigned and we lobbied. Now the permanent regular OIC Secretary General Envoy on Islamophobia has been appointed. It happens to be a Turkish former diplomat who used to be the Turkey ambassador in Iceland. And, we raised this issue in every relevant forum. And I understand 14th of March, there's going to be on this particular subject in Islam, on the subject of Islamophobia, there would be a special day, one day for UN General Assembly to debate on this business. So we are raising voice, and I'm glad Turkey and Pakistan and many other countries we work together to fight this menace.
Mohammad Ishaq Dar, he is the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Pakistan. Thank you for joining us here.
Pleasure.
To your world.
Pleasure. Thank you.